Hello, friends and beautiful people. Hey, hey, hey. It's day 3 of time bending and time jumping. Let's see who's going to jump on. I hope we get some folks joining today. Today we're going to further what we played with on day 2, where we remote viewed timeline potentials. And today we're going to take that timeline potential and merge it into your now dominant timeline. So this is going to be a fun exercise. Going to have the experience of merging timelines. And when we discuss this, hello everybody, say you're here, let me know you're here, say hi. When we explore this in the Timelines Expanded Masterclass, it's a bit more nuanced because there's a bigger class around it and a bigger explanation about merging timelines and having to do with the fulcrum point, which is, hey Kathryn, hey Jante, an assemblage point that you create in the heart that allows you to access timelessness through this fulcrum point. It is like a tipping point, and it raises the vibration of what you're doing with merging timelines, and it makes it a practice that feels like, yeah, you're punctuating the flow of time, but you're also in a place of timelessness or standing still, where you remove the weight of any emotional shrapnel, any emotional aspects that feel heavy or tight or dense, where it might be the ego coming in and trying to infiltrate the process and take over the process or stop the process of you merging this timeline. And so when you practice with this in Timelines Expanded, you have a much deeper experience of this. So if you like this, this is just going to give you a little taste of what that is and how to do it. And this is kind of the quick and dirty version of merging timelines, but it's still really powerful. And it's something that you can practice with because you are a creator being, and your ability, hi Angelique, your ability to master your emotional state, to master your visualization, your ability to do that without any contrast involved, without any distraction, disruption, distortion being introduced, or unwelcome contrast while you're doing it, allows you to create potentials of reality very, very quickly and very seamlessly. And so it's so important for us to get used to playing with this aspect, because this is who we really are. As creator beings, this is always who we've been. We've never not been this person. It's just that we haven't really been taught this stuff, and that's a problem. But it's never too late to learn it and to accumulate these tools and to be able to create more desired potentials in your life as a result of using an elevated consciousness tool such as merging timelines. And being able to manipulate the time fields is your divine being birthright. And as I mentioned in day 1, I believe in day 2 as well, our ascension process is riding on the ability for us to imagine potentials that are beyond the 3D time space, which feels very limited and contracted. So in order to ascend into elevated consciousness, we need to be able to confidently and comfortably employ higher consciousness tools like time bending and time jumping. And we need to be able to understand our multidimensional nature as we're doing this. And the only way to do that is to raise your vibration. So that's why we work with the God self. That is why we work with that vantage point of your perspective. That's why we work with the God choice. As I mentioned, is what is aligned as being highest and best for you, the highest and best for all, and with the least amount of resistance for all involved. So when you are employing these things, you're in the God self vantage point and you're using something as the God choice. That's kind of the secret sauce for letting this stuff work seamlessly, but also it raises your vibration so that you can be in alignment with using a tool that's already relegated to the realms of elevated consciousness. It's already relegated to the realms of 5D and beyond. So you have to raise your vibration in order to use those tools. But using those tools allows you to be more and more in an ascended level of awareness. And this is important. Because when we get habituated to this, we get comfortable with it, don't we? Anything that becomes more and more familiar to us becomes something that feels like it's a habit. It's something we are. We are being in a place of elevated consciousness. So the more you use tools like this, the more you are elevating your consciousness and the more you're kind of staying in that spectrum or bandwidth, frequency of consciousness. And the more we do that, the more we're ensuring that we keep climbing the steps of ascended consciousness. We keep climbing that ladder. Because there's no destination, really. We don't arrive in 5D. It's a dimensional reality we pass through. And we graduate. Because as infinite beings, we're always expanding. We're always growing. We're always exploring new potentials. We don't stop. There is no destination. Ascension is not an arrival point. It's only really a graduated step of awareness that keeps leading you into more and more levels of elevated consciousness. And I think that that's something that's understood by a lot of people, that ascension is this destination that we all reach and then we're in bliss and we keep moving and growing and expanding. We are infinite beings and we are limitless and boundless. We don't stop becoming. Okay? And so I want you to look at this 3 days as like a big stepping stone towards that, towards elevating your consciousness, towards being able to match a higher frequency and be able to stay there with a level that you feel confident and comfortable playing with these tools. And knowing that there's something very familiar about them because it's not that you're discovering these tools, you're remembering them. Okay? Does that make sense? You guys following me so far? And if you, hopefully when and if, or actually when instead of if, you sign up for Timelines Expanded, you only have 2 more days to get this temporary price drop on Timelines Expanded Masterclass. That offer goes away to save more than $300 on the course before it goes up to its forever price of $11.11. So you have also a payment option. You can do 2 payments of, I think it's $425, or you can do the full $749. Which is a huge deal because there isn't anything else like this program, not with the comprehensive level of information and the varied amount of information and the fact that you have practice. It's not just me talking at you for 12 modules. There are practices because everything about working with time it's tangible, it's experiential. So you need to be able to have tools to stretch and bend and expand and collapse time. So this course is full of tools, it's full of instruction, and it's very high value in terms of this isn't the easiest stuff to break down, to download, to be able to disseminate this information and make it teachable. I hope that that resonates with you as something that is very, very high value because it's not easy to talk about this stuff and bring it down to a 3D level and make it translatable and explainable and teachable. So those of you who have taken the program, I hope you would corroborate me on this and validate this claim that I do make it easy to understand. However, in order to get familiar with this work, you want to come to this class over and over again every time I teach it. And that's why when you sign up, it is offered for you. You're a lifer. You get to be in this program for life. And some people have been in it since the very beginning and have taken it 4 times now. And they always pick up a new nuance or something sits with them in a way that it didn't before. Something opens up in their awareness where they're able to use the tools differently now and maybe with more profound understanding. And it stops being something that's just conceptual and stops being something you do, and it just becomes who you are. You recognize yourself as a time bender. So this is This is a program that really allows you to do that and allows you to feel confident with being able to bend and manipulate the time fields in a way that is also really fun and really empowering. And I think I mentioned in one of the classes that I've been sharing with you here is that you don't really know empowerment, personal empowerment, until you start manipulating the time fields and you work with the alchemical nature of time in a way where you realize you have the ability as a keeper of 3D and as therefore a keeper of time to be able to work with different translations of time. It's not a fixed reality. In fact, it's very malleable. It's very elastic. It's very alchemical. And when you start to understand that and work with this in that way, you realize how empowering that is, because you get to create new potentials in your life working with this construct that you used to think was fixed. I love it. You make all these topics so easy to understand in a fun way. Great. I want it to be fun. I really want it to be fun. Thank you for saying that, Jante. That's well appreciated. So in day 2, and if you haven't watched that, I invite you to definitely go back and watch day 1 and day 2. And again, those of you who have signed up in my email, to my email list, so you just go to kathrynmassell.com and a little light box will pop up on that website within about 4 seconds of you being on there. Or you can just scroll down on the home page all the way down to the bottom. There's a place to sign up to my email list. That's my main email list. This is where my Sunday support email goes out from, which usually includes a meditation or some sort of piece of wisdom, knowledge, download that helps you access elevated awareness. But I'm going to be sending out all 3 days of these replays to my email list later on this afternoon. So I had to, yes, cancel yesterday's class and make it today instead. So those of you who are waiting to get the emails Friday night, I'm sorry. Thanks for your patience and understanding. But that email will go out with all 3 emails, all 3 days of replays from this time bending and time jumping class. They'll go out tonight, okay? And then you'll get the Sunday support email tomorrow too, which will have something fun in it for you all. So if you want those emails, go ahead and sign up for that. If you want to get into the Timelines Expanded Masterclass before the temporary price drop goes away, that goes away on the 25th. Then the price goes back up to the forever price of $11.11. Again, you get lifetime access, including all the replays from the last round that we taught from the beginning of this year. And those will be available through the end of 2021, so you got plenty of time to catch up on those 12 modules. And then in January of 2022, around the 20th of January, we will be beginning the next live round of Timelines Expanded. And there's going to be new content added, new material, some of the old stuff, some of the basics, some of the foundation, but I'll be adding more content that's going to be really, really interesting. And again, stuff that you're really not finding anywhere else. That's the way I like to teach. I like to teach dynamic, deep, and more spiritually advanced stuff. So if this is for you, please join up now because you're saving yourself over $300. And then you also have lifetime access to the program. So every time I teach it live, you then have a seat reserved for you to come and join us and come back. All right. So in day 2, I had invited you to imagine a desire or a potential, okay? Perhaps there is something that is a more desired outcome in your life right now, something you'd like to explore. Again, it can be a way of being, it could be a skill set you'd like to possess. It could be a physical object that you would like to have, a new car, more money. It could be having a different job, a different career path. Maybe you would like some more information to be illuminated about, what's my career path? What can I do with the awesomeness of who I am and step up and serve the world in a better way and do something that's enjoyable and is aligned with my purpose in the sense that I'm here to do great things. I'm here to be a master in this lifetime. Think about what that could mean for you if you just want to explore a potential that's just a more desired outcome overall. What if you want to just explore your master timeline? What are you doing in your master timeline? Maybe you want to shine a light on that here today. That's fine. Whatever you want to work with. Your life partner, your soulmate. Maybe you are looking for a new friendship, a new platonic friendship. Maybe you're looking for a new house, a new living situation. It doesn't matter what it is. If it's somehow aligned for you, you'll know it because it feels good to imagine this potential, to think about what it could be like if A, B, and C happened. If it feels good in your body, number one, that means it's in alignment for you. And number two, if you have awareness of it, that means it is meant for you. Remember, I said many times already in the first 2 days, we only have awareness of what is meant for us. So even if you have this desire that feels really out there, it feels like something you've never really had before, you've never had that kind of luck or feeling of alignment in your life before, if you have awareness of it, it's meant for you. And if you can visualize it and it feels good, it's aligned for you, okay? That is truth. We're talking higher spiritual truth here. Those two things are true, okay? So if you are coming to this class with that kind of feeling, you are in the right place. And use that. Use that feeling as your emotional anchor to help you drop into this timeline potential. And then through your more expanded feeling of this, while you're in the timeline, you're exploring this potential, you're dropping emotional anchor because you feel good, you feel aligned with this potential, it feels awesome, and you know if it feels awesome, it's meant for you, and you know if you have awareness of it, it's meant for you, it's aligned for you. That's where you want to be, okay? So whatever gets you into that sweet spot, that's what I want to invite you to go into right now. And if you don't have water, I'm going to give you a second to get some water and to establish a nice place for yourself where you're not going to be distracted or disturbed, where you're going to be uninterrupted for about the next 20 minutes or so, 20 to 30 minutes. Okay. If you didn't watch day 1 and day 2, you may want to stop here and go back to day 2 where I walk you through remote viewing timeline potentials and I explain what that entails as well. Or if you're adventurous and you just want to dive right in here today, that's fine too. And again, just listen to the sound of my voice. Make sure you can hear me nice and clearly. We have had power going in and out, so fingers crossed, everybody. Let's put all of our prayers together that we're streaming this uninterrupted today, okay? And I just want to see if there's any questions at all. Does anyone have any questions about any of this? And it could be about the Timelines Expanded program. If Timelines Expanded is a little too much of a commitment for you right now, I do also offer the Collapsing Timelines micro course. And that's, I think, 89 or 99, I can't remember. But I will put that link here for you as well. So this is the link for the Timelines Expanded Masterclass. You may want to just escort doggy and kitty out too. So that's the Timelines Expanded Masterclass. That price point, the temporary price drop goes away on the 25th, which is 2 days from now. Okay. And then this is the Collapsing Timelines micro course. And these are all located in my member vault. So if you haven't checked out my member vault, when you go to my Kathryn Massell homepage, there is the link for, sorry, momentary blip. This is the Collapsing Timelines micro course. Okay. When you go to my Kathryn Massell homepage, so my main page, when you click on that you'll see a bunch of links. And the VIP member vault is where, that's my member vault academy of all of my programs. So all of my self-study programs, including Timelines Masterclass, which is my signature program, In Alignment, which I've decided to open up again because some people have asked me to do that because it's been really powerful. That's in there. The Collapsing Timelines micro course is in there. And then there's other free stuff too. There's really, really low cost programs. There's 555. It's just 5 days, 5 ways of accessing 5D. Unity and Conscious Creation, which is a 3-day workshop, which is a low price point investment for if you've got this inspiration you've been sitting on and you just don't know what to do with it and you need to change your thinking around it and you want to stop what-ifing yourself to death about what if I did the thing and what would it lead to. This is a course that really opens you up to that. Notes on Ascension, which is my primer for Unity Consciousness. That's my book. That's in there. Mini courses, Quantum Quintessence, Psychic Protection Masterclass, Consciousness Mechanics of Ascension, which is a book, ebook, and a course. Preparation for Physical Ascension, which is for those who have had DNA activation with me. The 12D Merkaba activation and merging timelines is something that I'm also going to put as a link in here. So if you want to take our class today further, this is something totally free. You just sign up with your email. I'll give you that link. Allows you to take your merging timelines work a little bit further. All this stuff is in my member vault. It's my Academy of Programs online. All right, so everybody's situated. You guys ready to go on another little quantum journey or a big quantum journey? All right. Okay. So have a sip of water. If I tend to put you to sleep in these activations, in these journeys, I recommend sitting up. I recommend sitting up in a chair. It's okay to fall asleep, but this will, if you stay awake, you'll remember the steps and you'll remember the experience and you'll be able to download this into your conscious mind instead of just your subconscious. And so I recommend if you want to remember the steps and you want to remember this journey, be seated in a comfy chair where you have some back support and try to stay awake. So go into this memory of what you worked with in day 2, the potential timeline that you remote viewed and explored. Just call that in. And if you want to work with something different, that's okay too, okay? Maybe you want to heal and bring in the highest timeline for health and vitality, well-being. Maybe you've been suffering from a chronic pain or some sort of affliction, a cold that is affecting your health. Perhaps you want to merge in your highest potential timeline for health and vitality and well-being here today. Again, anything you want, anything goes. But get a sense of what that is. What do you want to work with today? What would be the highest potential timeline for this desire, for this way of being, this thing you want to have? What would that be? And now expand your energy into the feeling space of it. Just really easy. What would it feel like to have the thing if it was already here? If it's a new car, maybe you can imagine that new car smell. Maybe you can have the feeling of touching the steering wheel and it's a nice leather steering wheel and you feel your hands on it gripping the steering wheel while you're smelling the new car smell. Make it like a 3D surround sound, IMAX kind of experience of you being in this desire, okay? And having it, being it, doing it as if it's already here, okay? And if it helps you to go ahead and close your eyes, just start doing that. And I want you to just start gently breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. Feel your body settle with each rhythmic movement between the inhale and the exhale. In through the nose and out through the mouth. And just develop your own nice, easy rhythm with the breath. And as you do that, you become more and more aware of your body in time. When we pay attention and connect with the breath, we drop more deeply down into the present moment, the now moment. The only moment that exists is the now moment. It is the eternal now. In terms of spiritual time, it is all there is, the eternal now. And with each rhythmic round of the breath, inhale and exhale, feeling more and more present, dropping more deeply, more profoundly into the now. And as you do this, I invite you to gently call in the highest perspective and vantage point of you. God, self, 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 God, self. And I do 3 sets of 3 because 9 is a completion number. 9 is a God number. And it allows us to feel that full anchoring of this level of perspective. So try that. When you call in your God self or your higher self, do it in 3 sets of 3. Because 9 is a completion number and it allows you to feel that shift in subtle energy. Okay? And feel yourself relaxing more and more into the now. Feel yourself relaxing into this highest vantage point of you, your God self, the highest version of your higher self. And call in all parts and pieces of you that are off exploring contrast elsewhere. Call all these fragments, these fractured parts of self that maybe you've also sent away. Parts of you that you deemed lesser than, parts of you that have been sent away from a place of trauma. Call them all back with love. Call them all back, wash clean in pure source light. Call them back into your heart space. And anywhere you're exploring contrast and many, many other multidimensional timelines, where you're funding your attention, your awareness, and your focus elsewhere, call all these pieces back. Wash clean in pure source light. And notice, as you do this, how you feel a sense of completeness. You feel a sense of wholeness. You feel less disjointed, less like you're spread thin over many, many, many different timelines because you've called yourself back now. This is a very, very easy but simple and profound shift that allows you to work with the entirety of you, the fullness of your power. And when you're there, I want you to feel your body in space, meaning become aware of the physical space your body is taking up. Become aware of the dimensions of your body, where your hands are resting in your lap, perhaps, where your head is resting on your neck and feeling maybe just a little bit of tingling above the crown of the head. Feel your borders of your body against the infinite space that stretches out beyond you. And now feel yourself gently just fold into that energy. That the borders of your body now become borderless. And that you just merge into this unified field of energy that is the universal energy matrix, the organic energy matrix of the all that is. An energy grid that is aligned with pure source consciousness, the highest level of light and love possible. Just feel yourself merging into that. Feel how you are part of this fabric, this tapestry of the all that is. You are never not a part of it. It's just when we have these moments of being present in the now, and we allow our awareness to expand into this web, this grid, this matrix, only then, when we have this awareness of our focus and attention, are we aware of our power, of our creative ability, that we are creator beings, informed by this matrix, of this matrix. We may be on this earth. We're not fully of it, though, because we are our divine infinite potential, masquerading temporarily as a human in the 3D time-space matrix. But that's not our home necessarily. We're just visiting here. And we're learning how to play the new potentials now that we weren't aware of before. And it's exciting. It's adventurous. It fills us with a sense of curious expectation and wonder. What could be next? How could I learn now how to be a more powerful creator being, feel more empowered, feel more embodied with my own divine infinite power? Feel yourself expand into the curious expectation of this, into the sense of innocence, of exploring what's next, without any attachment to an outcome necessarily. Just feeling this adventurous, explorative spirit emerge from you, emerge from the heart, emerge from your solar plexus, where you work with the place of your own personal power and will to decide that different outcomes are possible, that different outcomes and potentials not only exist, but you can match them based on a decision from the infinite God self aspect of you to do so. This is your power. This has always been your power. This is your divine birthright. Now, all of this should be amplifying your field, should be allowing you to feel through this curious excitement, through this power, an amplification of your electromagnetic signature. Feel yourself becoming bigger, larger than life. Feel your bigness. Feel your power. This is you. This is always you. When you decide to pay attention to this aspect and version of you, anything is possible. You're able to tap into any and all potential timelines. And from your God sovereign self aspect, choose from the God choice that highest potential that exists, that's also aligned with the highest potential of all, and is the least amount of resistance for all involved. That's the God choice. And simply ask in this space of power and awareness, God self, God self, God self, show me the God choice for this desire. What would be the wording of it? Show me the God choice for this potential I now wish to explore even more deeply. I want to have a profound feeling and experience of this highest potential timeline right here, right now. And now I want you to become aware of the now dominant timeline that you're occupying, meaning this is the conveyance of energy. That is your daily go-to way of being. It would, if you would say, define your everyday reality. And just imagine this as a conveyance, a column of light that stretches out in front of you from the heart or from your solar plexus. And you see this potential now dominant timeline that you happen to be occupying with, funding most of your energy towards this at the moment. As you focus on this desired outcome, the more preferable outcome, your highest timeline, I want you to see many, many timeline offshoots spreading out from, growing out from, almost like tree branches, from this major conveyance of energy, which is your now dominant timeline. Just as we imagined in day 2, see all these branching out potential timelines. They're going to the left, they're going to the right, they're going above, they're going below. And as you focus on this place in your heart, this most desired timeline potential for you, and how that makes you feel, notice how your energy is focusing in on one particular timeline. Perhaps it is a branching flow or conveyance of energy that is brighter. Maybe it has a color that pulls your attention towards it. Maybe it has a sparkly kind of vibrating, or maybe even humming. If you're very clairaudient, maybe you hear a message, maybe you hear a humming, maybe you hear a tone. But one of these timelines is more prevalent than all the others, showcasing itself to you in some way to catch your attention, to draw your focus, to make it a fixed point in your awareness. Just go to it. There's no effort here. There's nothing to force. You're just following the energy, allowing yourself to be gently led to this timeline. Notice how it feels. Notice what it looks like. Does it have a sound, a tone, a hum, a frequency pitch? Just taking notes, just witnessing. What's the allure? Why are you drawn to this particular timeline? Now I want you to imagine yourself, perhaps you could notice yourself in a bubble of exploration. When you go into the 12D Merkaba and Merging Timelines, that's a free exploration that I put here in the comments. The link for that is in the comments. You can go into this conveyance of energy as your own personal starship of exploration. So you can imagine yourself inside of a 12-pointed star, traveling to this timeline, in this place of protection. You can imagine yourself in a bubble or sphere of light. But notice how you are gently drifting towards this timeline. And that this conveyance of energy is a semi-permeable membrane that you can gently just drop into. I want you to do that now. Imagine yourself journeying to this timeline and just boop, dropping in, taking a look around. See yourself in this timeline, being, doing, having, whatever it is your most desired timeline or potential right now. What are you doing? Who are you with? What is the air like? Is the sun out? Is it nighttime? Are you journeying somewhere? Are you on a destination, a journey? Are you at a destination, rather? Or are you journeying? What are you wearing? What does your hair look like? How do you feel in your body? Make this as visceral and real as you possibly can. What kind of events are taking place around you? What time is it? What season of the year? Get as many details from remote viewing this potential as you possibly can. And now to merge or begin to start merging this potential into your now dominant timeline, which is essentially taking this timeline and weaving it into your default, everyday, now dominant timeline way of being. And to begin this process and kind of gently lead this energy in that direction towards weaving it in, I want you to imagine whatever you're visualizing here, start dropping in little things that are familiar to you from your now dominant timeline. Maybe put your dog in there. Put an article of clothing that you absolutely love wearing and you look really good in it and you always get great compliments on it. Picture yourself in that clothing, doing this thing, being this thing, having this thing in this higher desired timeline potential. Pepper in little things that bring the habituation, the familiarity of your now dominant everyday timeline into this timeline. Don't try to force anything here. Just allow it to be easy. Let it be playful. Let it be fun. The universe is always reminding us that when we have the spirit of play, it is so easy for us to create. So let it be playful. Let it feel innocent. Like when you're a little kid and you're imagining potentials or writing stories or out in the yard making mud pies and pretending that it's delicious chocolate cake. Have that sense of wonder that you have as a young child. Let this be playful. Let it be fun. And now when you've peppered in some of those things, I want you to imagine pulling your energy out again from this timeline and seeing this timeline from a vantage point of like you out in space looking at this timeline. I want you to see how it branches off in a different direction from this now dominant timeline, which is your everyday, normal waking reality. And I want you to gently notice how this timeline branching off is now merging, almost like it's careening back towards, it's very malleable, it's not a fixed point. It's malleable, it's flexible, it's alchemical. Imagine merging this timeline until it connects, until it merges with your now dominant timeline. It just becomes part of it, as a conveyance within a conveyance. Notice how you feel this shift in your body as you do this. It may feel like a little hiccup. It may feel like a little blip. You may feel like a tingling sensation. Just notice the subtle frequency shift that you're experiencing as you merge these timelines together. Now this higher, more desired, more preferable timeline potential is part of your now dominant timeline. And now see how you, going through the rest of your day, let's just use this day as a reference point, are experiencing things that are relegated to this higher potential timeline. Your activity, your way of being, how you believe you are, how you think you are, the idea of you just gently merges with what you're already doing as part of this higher desired potential timeline. Maybe you see yourself being involved in an activity with your kids, or being in a conversation with your mom, or having a conversation on the telephone with a friend, and then you naturally just lead into one of the things that you saw as a potential in this higher timeline. Notice how fun and easy this is. And the longer you stick with this process, the longer you allow yourself to feel all the feels, understand again that you are dropping emotional anchor, which is what makes any timeline real. In terms of the body and the mind, and how it reacts to your imagination, it makes no distinction and it knows no difference between what is real and what is imagined. If the feelings are in the body, if the neural connections are taking hold, for all intents and purposes, it is real. It is now. It is tangible. It is happening. Know this is true. Know that this is you as your creator being acting out this birthright of being a creator. And that it can be fun and exciting and liberating and powerful. There is no more powerful feeling than knowing you are the creator of your reality. And the longer you stay with this, again, you are establishing new neural connections. You are creating an energetic agreement now in the body that your beliefs and your desires, meaning what has come to pass or is coming to pass and becoming reality, those potentials now match up. Instead of causing chaos and confusion and contrast within you, now your beliefs and your desires and what's really happening, because for all intents and purposes it is, they all match up. These are all now potentials that frequency-wise are in agreement, in coherence. There is a harmonic convergence. This is how creation takes hold. And just notice how you feel. The longer you sit with this, the more you expand into this energy. What if you started every day like this? Feeling like this, playing with these potentials, playing with your desires in a very real, very tangible way. And you can notice how events are now sequencing and following each other in this now dominant timeline. That if this event is happening, it naturally gets sequenced in into this next event, this next scenario, this next situation. And of course, the feeling of that just expands even more, feels even better, feels even more powerful, feels even more fun, feels even more satisfying and joyful and fulfilling. Let it stretch on in front of you. Let it stretch on maybe past this day. Let it stretch on to where you see yourself waking up tomorrow morning and continuing on in this feeling and these sequences of events that are aligned with this higher desired potential. Let it be as big and as expansive as you want it to be. I want you to take a deep breath in and feel all of this taking hold in your body. All of this shift, all of these changes, all of this excitement that you're feeling. This is real. This is happening. This is now. And now I want you to take a deep breath in and imagine pulling your energy back into your heart space. Taking the expansiveness of this, say thank you. Pepper this process with appreciation and gratitude that always amplifies whatever we're experiencing and accelerates the process. Gratitude and appreciation accelerates any creative endeavor. Thanking the space, thanking the universal field, the mind, the universal mind of one. Just thanking this energy as you pull it back into the heart. Feel how expanded you are in your energy. Feel how hopeful you feel. Full of excitement and expectation. And now I want you to imagine taking this energy down from the heart space. Let it flow through the lower extremities of the body. Feel it in your belly, in your sacral. Feel it swirl around in your hips and your joints, the legs, the knees. Feel how this energy is now jet fuel to propel you forward in your physical 3D body towards accessing this way of being, this thing you're doing, this thing you're having. Let it go down into the calves and the ankles and the feet. Let it be the fuel that lifts you up, allows you to feel lit up and light by your desires instead of feeling that you're being made heavy by them. Which, when we're in a place of ego and we're desiring, we always have the feeling that I'm here, my desires are over there. That feels heavy. That's not how we're meant to feel about our desires. Now you've had the experience of being in it, of being of the desire, with the desire, in the desire. That's always going to feel light. It's always going to feel like it lifts you up and carries you aloft instead of weighing you down. Now allow this energy to go out through the soles of the feet, through all the layers of the earth, and taking this down, down, all the way down into the iron crystalline core of the earth. And saying, I am grounded, I am grounded, I am grounded. And just feel yourself gently come back into your body. You may want to take another deep breath. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Drink some water. I hope I didn't put everyone to sleep. Let me know how you're feeling. Let me know how that was for you. I'd love your feedback. And if you don't feel fully grounded and back, go ahead and put your hands on your heart. Connect with your heartbeat. Okay. You may want to just gently move your head from side to side. Kind of open up the jaw a little bit. You could even get up and stretch your body a little bit. How did that feel? This is getting me kind of excited about life. That's really, really good, Amy. If you like this, then you're going to love Timelines Expanded Masterclass, and I hope that you'll seriously consider joining and getting in on this deal. It's such an amazing program. And the feedback that I have gotten over the years from Timelines Expanded Masterclass is that this is a tool, timeline healing, which is kind of the generic blanket term for everything in the Timelines Masterclass, that people have woven this into their healing work that they already do. It's complementary to whatever kind of healing modality, whatever kind of healing method you use. I use it with DNA activation and restructuring. I use it with Reiki. I use it with the deeper healing that I do with my clients that involves what I'm now teaching in an alignment program, which is original cause healing, which heals us from and stops us from living at the mercy of our ego perception. So it works with anything and everything. And I have a lot of clients who do healing work and have now used this woven into the very amazing healing that they already do, that they're already sharing with their clients. And as part of Timelines Expanded Masterclass, I devote a whole module for teaching you how to teach this to your clients and how to set up sessions with your clients to do ancestral timeline healing, to do timeline collapsing. There's more than a few ladies who have woven this into their healing practice. So yeah, had some resistance from my monkey mind. Okay. When you do that, and I forgot to introduce this at the beginning, when you know you can step into that trap, or if you're, habituated to feeling like the ego is going to thwart the process or try to shut it down or whatever, use that little trick that I shared with you in day 2, where you talk to the ego first before you even begin, and promise that whatever we need to think about, whatever we need to do, whatever task at hand needs to be performed and taken care of, I promise that we will get to that. It tends to stop that endless carousel of the monkey mind chatter and the thoughts that come around, endless loop, right? Try that, Kathryn, because it really, really does make a difference. It only takes a couple seconds to just basically just sitting the ego down and saying, listen, here's what's up. I got this. I got us. We're safe. We're in good hands. You don't need to constantly let me know you're here. I know you're here. I know you're trying to remind me of the things that need to get done. I promise that we'll take it to the next level after this is done. But for right now, this is time for me to work with a different part of myself, a different part of us. I got this. There's no need for you to micromanage. You know, whatever works to make it feel like you've got the upper hand and you're in control and you're setting that boundary with your ego, like, there's plenty of time for you later. There's always plenty of time for you, right? Mr. Ego, Mrs. Ego. So it's just talking to it, because trying to smash it down, and I always use this reference, that carnival game whack-a-mole, right? Where the mole keeps popping up out of the hole and you have a mallet and you keep trying to shove it down. We try to do this to the ego all the time, and it never ever works. What we resist persists every single time. So you talk to the ego like an old friend, because that's what it is. And when you do that, it can often just allow you to completely relax into the experience, and you're not exploring this ego contrast. You're not in the ego perception. You're not constantly trying to shove away at it. It tends to just be quiet for a little bit. Okay? Loving the merging of the two timelines. In fact, I merged 3. That's awesome, Lily. That's really cool. And you can. And so for the people who I've, taught Timelines Expanded to, the more and more merging timelines work they do, they're working with several timelines at once, actually. Because with practice, you get really adept at it. And obviously, Lily, you just picked it up right away. But when you get more comfortable with this process, you can merge many, many different timelines into your now dominant timeline. And again, it's fun and it's exciting. And you're like, I'm doing this. I have all this power. And for those of you who don't feel very powerful in your life, working with the time fields can be a great way to help you understand and remember how powerful you actually are. That's why I keep saying, you don't know empowerment until you learn how to manipulate the time fields for beneficial outcomes in your life. There's no better feeling, honestly. Feeling inspired to weave this into my life and healing. I pinpointed and cleared a huge limiting belief. Now I can really feel this timeline. So zesty. I love it. I love that word, zesty. That's amazing, Jonte. And so for those of you who have not explored the link that I put in here, the 12D Merkaba and Merging Timelines, so that's totally free. It's in my member vault. I put the link here, and go ahead and explore that. Play with this more. Take it deeper. For those of you who felt like, ooh, this is just a little taster. I want the full price fix menu. I want to go deep into this work. Then you definitely want to go into the 12D Merkaba and Merging Timelines exercise. And obviously join up for Timelines Expanded, because this goes so much deeper, you guys. You have no idea. So does that make sense, Kathryn? Okay, great. So I'm so excited that I got to share this with you guys. And how fun is this, right? It's fun. It makes you feel powerful. It allows you to see things that from a different veiled level of contracted ego perception reality we just couldn't see before. And when we're in our God self vantage point and perspective, you're privy to things. You are losing that veil of forgetting, and you're allowing yourself to view timeline potentials that simply aren't available to you when you are in a lower frequency bandwidth of perception, which is when you are in your ego perception, okay? So you always want to work with, I just want to go over the guidelines for this work real quick. If you want to go back and do these calls again, please do. You can't OD on this stuff. You only advance more and more as you do it. You're only going to have more expanded experiences the more and more you practice with this stuff. The more you're going to open your mind and elevate your consciousness and raise your default frequency, the more you do this work, because you're working with tools of elevated consciousness when you're working with timeline healing. So guidelines, you always want to call on your God self. It's really, really helpful if you find you're going to that ego monkey mind chatter to just talk to the ego. You're not trying to smash it down. You're getting it to cooperate with you. Kill it with kindness. That always works, right? You know, we all know how powerful the ego is. So we don't try to treat it as our foe. We treat it as an ally, and we just let it know what we're doing, what we're up to. Most of the time, the ego is just suspicious about what we're up to and that we're trying to get rid of it. The ego doesn't want to be gotten rid of, you know. But it will work with you. It will allow you some peace of mind to do this work. So if you find you go to the ego a lot when you're doing this, just talk to it like it's an old friend, because that's what it is. When you work with your God self, after you do that, you may want to call in fragments, fractured parts of self. You know, there's a lot of parts of self that we've sent away. You know, when we have been in times in our life where we felt shame or guilt or blame or resentment, we were told we were bad or something like that, we send those parts of ourselves away. And they're kind of hanging out in some sort of emotional and cosmic limbo. And we can often feel not fully in our power because we don't call these parts home to us, bathed in pure source light, bathed in God's love. When we do that, we're working with the wholeness of who we are. And you're going to have quicker results with this. You're going to feel more empowered. You're going to feel more of an embodied instead of disembodied agent doing this work. Okay? So do that too. You always want to ground the energy when you're done. I mentioned the importance of that the other day. Super, super, super important. The entire filter of our experience, even though, yes, we are divine beings masquerading as humans, but our current locus of attention is within a human body. This is not a mistake. This is not an accident. It is our filter of experience, and there is no experience that exists outside of you. Meaning in your body, or what you consider to be within, is where all experience takes place. So you don't have any experience of you as a spiritual being without this filter of the body. So we need to honor the body, we need to appreciate the body, and you need to be grounded in it. And if you're doing this work where you feel like you go really, really far out there, if you're not grounding it back into your body, you're not back in your root chakra, you're not back in your earth star chakra. And so that's when accidents happen. That's when things go wrong. When we come back and we're not fully embodied, we have bad things happen, okay? Don't do this work when you're driving or operating any heavy machinery. I hope I don't have to say that, but I'm going to say it anyway. You want to make sure you're not distracted or disturbed when you do this work. And do it often. Make it something that you prioritize in your life by maybe when you get up in the morning or before you go to bed at night. How do you want your day to be the next day? Do you want to be living inside of your desires? Then set it up the night before that the next day when I wake up, I'm going to be living alongside, within, inside of my desires. I'm going to take action that is directly related to these desires, this way of being, to what I want, etc. Set that up in your mind. Visualize it. Be in the space. See how your next day goes. When you set that up in your mind the night before, you have really, really, really good odds that your day is going to look like that, physically. In the morning, when you get up, you can spend 5 minutes collapsing old timelines that are no longer aligned with your highest and best way of being. No longer aligned with the God choice for you. Go ahead and collapse them. And then on the heels of that energy, because you don't want to just leave a big energetic void, you can activate then with that rollover energetic potential from the timeline you've just collapsed. Ask that that now be used to fund your highest and best God choice way of being, timeline, etc. You have this power, okay? So thanks for joining me for these 3 days. This has been really fun, you guys, and I hope you enjoy it. I hope to see you in Timelines Expanded Masterclass. When you join, you also have access to our Facebook group. So there's bonuses in there, and it's also a place where you can discuss your experiences, where you can ask questions. And make sure that if you do, that you tag me if you have a specific question about the program or a module, etc. So that way I see your questions. The $300 temporary price drop on Timelines Expanded goes away on the 25th. So if you want in on this program, this is this one-of-a-kind program, and excellent opportunity right now to get in on this before the price goes back up. All right, guys, thank you so much. Lots of love and peace to you all. Mwah. Have a great day.